Hello everyone, Smriti here, TGT Science from SR International School. And the topic for today, or the chapter we'll be learning about today, is changes around us. We all have been observing changes since we were a toddler or an infant. We all have been observing changes around us. There are so many changes: weather changes, seasonal changes, climatic changes, changes in the appearance of things. When things are new, they appear different. When they become old, they appear to look different. We all have seen change even amongst ourselves. Well, while we were a toddler, an infant, we look different. And now we look totally the opposite, totally a different personality we have. We all see changes even in the minute things. You keep a glass of water for some time, it starts looking different due to certain depositions of air, dust, and other particles in it. You see your bed sheet, before you sat on your bed, you sit on your bed, you see a clean and neatly placed bed sheet. And once you sit or you lie down and then you get up, and then you get a different view of the bedsheet. I mean, it's just change, and change is something which is totally inevitable, something which is not restricted by something which cannot be changed. Change is something which is, of course, change is something which is obvious to happen, which is uh, bound to happen. You cannot ever change a change to take place. So, well, when we're discussing about changes around us, we observe different kinds of changes, and on the basis of same, we have classified changes into certain parts. They are natural and man-made changes. They can be desirable and undesirable changes. They can be physical and chemical changes, and also they can be reversible and irreversible. Before we come on to different kinds of changes and learning about different kinds of changes, let's first learn and understand about some applications, or you may say some causes, basically some causes of changes. What are the things which causes change, which relates to change, because of which changes takes place? Like, I would say, I would name here three main causes, but those three causes are not actually the overall causes because of which changes takes place. Changes can take place due to n number of causes. Mentioning any three of them, such as application of pressure. A change can take place due to application of pressure. A very simple example, few examples I would like to quote here. Take a balloon, like a deflated balloon. As soon as you put the balloon in your mouth, apply pressure of the air inside the balloon gets inflated. And as the balloon gets inflated, that's due to pressure of air that you inserted inside the balloon. So number one cause was application of pressure. Number two, heating. Of course, when you heat water, okay, take some water in a container, put that container or that vessel over the gas flame, let it catch heat, let it boil for some time. You will see reduction in the amount of water due to heating. So again, this was a change. Earlier water was more, and as you kept the water on boiling for some time, the quantity of water decreased. That is also one of the example of change. Next is mixing. Yes, okay. I take two different substances. I take sugar in one and I take a glass of water in one, right? And what I do next is I mix both of them. So initially I have two substances, one sugar and one water. And now when I mix them both, ultimately what I received was one substance. I started mixing both of them, and thus I got a sugar solution. See how it happens. This is a container, right? It already has some water molecules. As the container is not vacant, it already consists of water. Now what I do is, as soon as I mixed sugar in this, supposingly this red color signifies sugar. As I mixed sugar in it, the empty spaces got filled up with the molecules of sugar, and thus it became now one. Initially I had two things, sugar and water, and now when I mix them both, the empty spaces in between the water molecules got filled up because of sugar molecules, and thus a change again takes place. So here we learned about various causes of change, things because of which, or the ways because of which changes might take place. Now coming on to different types of changes. Starting with number one, natural and man-made changes. Any change which happens due to any natural reason or any natural phenomena, that would come under natural changes. For example, growing up an infant into an adult, right? You all are growing up children, right? That's one of the example of natural changes, because this is not something that you are doing by yourself. This is something which is happening naturally. You're just fueling yourself with food and all the other nutrients. But growing up isn't in your hand. It's all happening by nature. You can take example of plants, trees, they grow on their own. You can take example of mountains, you can take example of moon. Every day the shape and structure of moon is different from the previous day. Well, these all constitute your examples of natural changes. Next coming, man-made changes. Changes which are made by man. Okay, very simple example. I have a marker in my hand. Initially, the marker is a complete marker. It has a body and also has a cap. Now, I open my marker, and now what I have in my hands is a different body and a different cap. And what I do now is I mix the cap of this marker with the green marker and I cap it. Here lies the difference. Initially, it was a red marker with a red cap, white body, red stripes and a red cap, and now it is a white body, red strip with a green cap. So it's a change again, and that's a change which is done or that is caused by humans itself. Therefore, the changes which are caused due to man, or if you're talking about ill changes taken place by man, it can be spreading dust, spreading dirt, leading to more and more pollution, leading to global warming, or splitting dirt and dust into river bodies, onto roadsides. All these things which are disastrous, which are leading to disastrous situations for us, they may also come under man-made changes. Next, coming on to desirable and undesirable changes. Any sort of a change, children, which we like, that would, or which happens due to our own will be considered as a desirable change. For example, I'm really getting bored at home and I really want this lockdown to get over so that I may go out, meet my friends, party with them and have some fun. Now, this is a kind of change which I want to take place. And I just woke up one day and I read in the newspaper that yes, the vaccine for coronavirus has now been introduced, and now there will be no more lockdown taking place because that vaccine would be injected to everyone and everyone would be corona free. There would be no corona in India and the world now, and therefore I would easily be able to go out. So this is a change that happened, but this change happened at my will. Change happened at my wish, something which I wanted, which I desired. So starting from the word and coming out of the word desired comes your desirable change. Next comes undesirable change. So undesirable change here comes like a change which takes place without our desire, without our will. I so want to go out today, I want to spend a good time with my family and my friends, but as I go out, it starts raining and I don't have a car, I don't have a cab, and I seriously don't want to get ill getting myself wet in the rain. I have to stay in. That's also change. That means like I wanted to go out, but I could not go out. Right? That was undesirable because that is something I wanted to do, but because of certain situations, conditions, I could not do it. That was undesirable. Coming about undesirable change, cutting of trees, deforestation taking place, one and the same thing, right? Splitting all the dirt and dust into river bodies, making your surroundings filthy, not clean. They all are examples of undesirable changes, some kind of changes which we personally do not desire or which do not happen because of our own will. Next, coming on to reversible and irreversible changes. So children, when we talk of reversible changes, things or changes which can be reversed back, right? This is my pen. I drop it down. I pick it up. That's a reversible change. Earlier I was holding it, I dropped it down, and again I picked it up, and again I'm holding it. So this is one kind of a change which can be reversed, right? So this is one example of reversible change. I give one more example. Take an example of your mother kneading the dough to make chapatis. When the dough is being kneaded, before making chapatis, right? Once the dough is being kneaded, now you can make anything out of the knead dough, right? I'm sorry. You can make anything out of that knead dough. You can change it into a shape of a circle or a square. You can make a triangle. You can make a rectangle. You can make a bird. Anything that you wish to do with that dough, that kneaded dough, you can do it. So that is one kind of a change. And again, like once I take that dough, or a clay, you can take an example of clay as well. If you take clay or a dough, and now you make a circle out of it, right? Again, if I want, I can again make chapatis of the circle, or I can change that circle shape into rectangle shape. And again, I can go back to making a circle shape out of the same. So this is one of the example of reversible changes which can be reversed back, and thus they come back to their original position. Coming to irreversible changes. Okay, I continue with the example of the kneading dough. I take that dough, and now what I do is I take that dough, with the help of a rolling pin, I make that flat, and now I put that onto the stove, right? And make chapatis out of it. Once the chapatis are made, now can those chapatis be returned or reversed back to the old original form of a dough? No, they cannot be. Therefore, the changes or cooking of a vegetable. Initially, you have raw vegetables with you, but now what you do is you cut them, you chop them, and you make a vegetable or a dish out of that. And therefore, now that cannot be reversed back to the original position. So, therefore, this was an example of irreversible change. Last but not the least, coming to physical and chemical change, which is one of the most important kind of change. I would like you all to remember two main characteristics of physical change as well as two main characteristics of a chemical change. A physical change is one kind of a change in which no new substance is formed, and generally, I use the word generally, not always, and generally it's reversible. That means a physical change is one kind of a change which can be reversed back to the original position, and no new substance is formed. All right. Coming to physical change, as I was talking about, I said a physical change. I repeat again, physical change is one kind of a change in which no new substance is formed, and generally it's reversible. For example, I have this paper piece in my hand, right? What I do is I crumble it. As I crumple this paper, right? There's a change. Initially it was plain sheet, and now I crumbled it up, and it is this much. What I do now is I open it again. As I open it again, I again got my paper back. Therefore, no new substance is formed. Initially, it was a piece of paper, and even now, it's just a piece of paper, right? It's even reversible. Initially, it was plain sheet, and even after crumbling, as I opened it up, I obtained a plain sheet. Talking about talking about chemical change. When I discuss about chemical change, it's just the opposite of physical change. That is, a chemical change is one kind of a change in which a new substance is formed, and generally it's irreversible. Taking example of a matchstick, right? You have a matchstick in hand, you burn it. As you burn it, you obtain a new substance. That means, number one, initially it was just a box of cardboard and a matchstick made up of wood. Now, when you burnt it, you obtained ashes and even the flame coming out, the gas coming out, probably your carbon dioxide. That is two main things you obtained. A new product was formed here, and therefore the same matchstick which you had initially earlier with before burning, you cannot obtain or you cannot have that same matchstick back again. It's now burned and it cannot be utilized for further burning. If talking about a chemical change is irreversible, I would give one more example of this paper. I tear this paper into certain parts. And now, as the paper is badly torn, even if I try to fix it back, I would use Fevicol, or I would use any other adhesive like tape or anything to bring it back to the original position, but still it won't be the same as it was before. So that was all about chemical changes. Hope it was clear. For any other query, you can either leave any comment down or in the class you can ask me. Thank you.